Mr. Annamalai. Thank you very much for joining me on the News Hour. Today you must have seen the comments made by Sam Pitroda, Satyanarayan Gangaram Pitroda, friend, philosopher, guide of the Congress party and Rahul Gandhi. How do you react to his idea of India, or should I say, the Indian skin?
I am extremely happy that you used the word called idea of India. I was waiting for some very senior journalist of your repute, somebody to use the word called idea of India. So what he has done, he has questioned the very idea of India, madam. African is not a wrong word, and Chinese is not a wrong word, Arab is not a wrong word. It's okay. People live in different parts of the world. But the connotation he mentioned is, we are all descendants of some invaders. Northeast are descendants of some invaders. That is why they look like Chinese. Arabs, descendants of invaders, they look like Western people, west side of India, Arab. The southern part of India, he says African. So that is very, very disturbing to me. Not the mere connotation of any word, madam. It's so disturbing because what is the Congress idea of India? When we say the idea of India that we are full, we are whole, everybody is together, this is a national political party which is supposed to have a national outlook. And the friend, philosopher and guide of the senior leader, Mr. Rahul Gandhi, Sam Pitroda ji, calls the very idea of India into question as a national party representative. That too, I think, from Rajiv Gandhi ji to Rahul Gandhi ji has been a mentor, philosopher and guide, continuously giving them idea. So if this is the mindset in which Congress senior people are operating, that is why still Robert, after the 5 states assembly election results, madam, the Congress leaders from Tamil Nadu and other parts of India at the southern side, they put a tweet, this is South, and the South fortress not breached, and this is like we are South. So a senior Congress leader, somebody is an MP like Karthik Chidambaram from Tamil Nadu, Shivagangai, and many other senior leaders used this word right after the 5 state assembly elections. Then only we were questioning, how is Congress looking at India per se? What is their idea? Now Sam Pitroda ji has taken one step further. Now mere condemnation by Jairam Ramesh ji, or putting a small tweet to say that Congress is dissociating themselves from this statement, that is all on the surface, madam. Now people of India are watching, and they are watching very clearly. They know the intention behind the Congress is, their idea of India is very, very different from your idea, probably my idea of India.
But when Sam Pitroda has now resigned from his position as president of the Indian Overseas Congress, do you think this is enough in terms of action and the fact that he's voluntarily stepped down? Do you see this as a step of sincerity from the Congress?
Madam, of course there is an office bearer in every party, and the people are certain times an office bearer, they do their responsibility, they move out. But Sam Pitroda ji doesn't fall into that league. So if you look at the history for the last 40 years, right from Rajiv Gandhi's time, then the young Turks of the Congress party at that point of time, then the Sanjay Gandhi's introduction, then Rahul Gandhi ji coming inside, the transition phase of Congress, then the Manmohan Singh ji's 10 years of power. So if you look at all the angles and all the 10 years, different decades, Sam Pitroda ji was present every time, 1980s, 1990s, 2000s, 2010s. So this is not an ordinary person who can just say, oh, I'm an office bearer, I've resigned, I'm so sorry. No, he is a guy who's deeply ingrained into the Congress thinking, and he is more into the brain trust of the Gandhi family, and he is speaking like this. It's not just off the cuff remark, madam. Anybody looks at that video conference, it's a very well thought out, that came from his heart. And he says India is such a complex country to govern, and the kind of language he used follows it, which clearly shows that whatever they are trying to do is just a damage control. But what we are trying to do, what I am trying to kind of explain to you or give you my point of view, madam, is this shows the Congress thinking, not Sam Pitroda ji. Today is like the ultimate tip of the iceberg he has taken. Now continuous elections, the South, the way they made it North-South, during the last 1 year, after the 5 assembly elections, what they are trying to set a South narrative, then the Congress governments, the Congress CMs of southern states trying to make it North versus South, then the Congress leaders including Mr. D.K. Shivakumar's brother talking about it is time that Karnataka might form, South might form a separate nation. So I'm just putting things in totality, madam, putting things in totality, that it is Congress thinking that is coming out one by one. And today what Sam Pitroda ji has spoken is ultimate. Now he might resign, they might do damage control mode, probably they might take some action against him tomorrow. But what we are trying to argue is, we are trying to bring the Congress true face out. How they have an ecosystem outside the country. people like George Soros sitting outside trying to control the Congress narrative, people going to foreign universities in front of a foreign audience, trying to debate about the idea of India, questioning India's democratic institutions, other institutions. Western audience, they want them to cheer for
True.
it. So we are talking of the sum totality of the Congress behavior.
Well, clearly, but let me get in Mr. Conrad Sangma in also. Mr. Sam Pitroda has now resigned. He stepped down. Do you think this is accountability for the statements that he made earlier, Conrad Sangma? And should I actually call you a Chinese today, going by the definition of Sam Pitroda?
Well, it's a decision that is to be made at his level and at the party's level. So that's a decision that they have made. I don't have any comments on that. But I think what is important is that these kind of statements that deeply hurt sentiments of the people of the state and the region, especially the Northeast, and of course other parts of the country also, is something that should be really condemned, and it's not something that really helps in trying to improve the situation overall. And as I said earlier also, that this kind of racial comments and racial discrimination has happened in the past. So we hoped that we would have moved beyond that by now, and yet we get to hear this kind of statements from senior leaders from the from a very old party, the Congress party, because it's not any normal person from the Congress party who's saying this. It's a person who has worked closely with the former prime minister, the late prime minister of the country, and obviously a person who understands the entire culture of the party, has been part of the policy making for the Congress party. So, as I said, it does undermine it to a large extent. And again, it's very sad that these kind of statements are coming out from such senior people in the party.
Well, and does this not fall into the category of racist attacks? Because after all, you've studied in Delhi, this kind of typecasting and racial attacks happen and have happened in the past to people coming from the Northeast, especially at a time when we've probably got a little control. A statement of this kind coming in, racist, wouldn't you call it that?
That is something that, of course, I will not be able to comment on, because it's really the mind of the individual. But having said that, as I mentioned to you, that we have faced this, I have faced it at my personal level, as a small child growing up here in Delhi. Not to blame anybody, but that was a kind of mentality then. And, we faced challenges. And as I was mentioning, we thought that as we moved along, so many things, so many improvements, and so much of more bonding that has taken place, and a sense of respect that came in. But from my end, I've always tried to ensure that whatever situation that is there, we should try to resolve these situations and move forward and improve the overall, scenario in these kind of situations in the larger interest of the nation.
Well said, Mr. Sangma. But let me also get in Tejasvi Surya, who's joining us. Tejasvi Surya, your first reaction to this diversity of India as expressed by Sam Pitroda.
Sam Pitroda's statements are a clear indication of the imperialist, racist, and colonial mentality of the Congress party, which it has very clearly borrowed from and adopted from the British. Almost a century ago, Winston Churchill had espoused very similar statements, very similar sentiments about India and Indians. He said that India, just like Europe, is a geographical abstraction. It is not a single nation. And Indians belong to different races. And it is the British government that has held these diverse set of people together. How is Sam Pitroda's and the Congress party's view and statement any different from the racist view that Winston Churchill had taken a century ago? This just reflects two things. One, that the Congress party's view about India and Indians is nothing different from the racist view that the British and Winston Churchill had taken. That is to say that the Congress party by the British, but even today, it is still run by foreigners, by Italians, and is also being guided by people who sit in the US, who have nothing whatsoever to do with this nation and its culture. Second, it also indicates that the Congress party is the original Tukde party of this country. This was the party, because they have and espouse this kind of a mentality about this country, they, without any hesitation, acceded to partitioning of this country in 1947. And more recently, it was this very party and its leader Rahul Gandhi who went and supported Umar Khalid and Kannaya Kumar in their Tukde protests in JNU. And even today, Kannaya Kumar is today rewarded with a Congress party ticket from Delhi. So the Congress party, by subscribing to these kind of racist views, is furthering artificial divisions and fault lines in the country and trying to break India, to even instigate civil war in India, only to further their petty political gains. This is very unfortunate. This is not innocent. This must be taken very seriously.
So let me ask you, even though Sam Pitroda has stepped down, do you think his statement can be taken in isolation, or will it have to be taken along with the statements made by senior Congress leaders, especially like D.K. Suresh and Karti Chidambaram, who have often created divides, Revanta Reddy, who have created divides between the North and the South, just recently after the recent state elections?
All of these, asking statements that we want a separate nation for the South, that India is not a united nation, India is a amalgamation or coming together of different races, as though we are all, the lineage of different invaders, attributing different racial dimensions to Indians. All of these indicate the mentality that is not different from what the Britishers had with respect to India. Which is why I quoted what Winston Churchill had said. Winston Churchill held the same view, that India is not
and
a single
Jinnah
nation.
after him.
He said that India is a geographical abstraction.
Absolutely.
Just like the equator. He said India is a conglomeration. Indians are a conglomeration, amalgamation of multiple races. This is exactly what Sam Pitroda and the Congress party are saying.
Absolutely, and
This
it's
must
not
be
just
condemned,
Churchill, it's
and the people of
also
this country will teach the
Muhammad
Congress
Ali
party
Jinnah who
a
made
lesson
such
that
a
it will never
statement
forget.
that India is a conglomeration of various nationalities. But let me come back to you, Mr. Annamalai. You tweeted this morning calling yourself dark-skinned, Bharatiya. So what does Annamalai, who's dark-skinned, as described by you yourself, what's your message to Rahul Gandhi today?
Madam, I am one person like me. There are crores of people from different parts of India. Specifically, I come from the southern part of India. I revolt at anybody saying, my whole body revolts when somebody says north, south. I use a word called southern. I use a word called northern often. And as if there is a geographical line that defines north and south, and north is different, south is different, and our thinking is different. So I revolt at this very idea when somebody says below Vindhya something, above Vindhya something. That's why I use a word called southern, madam. Now, dark skin. Now, generally they want to go by skin color, and very unfortunate. Sam Pitroda's remark, our PM has also gone one step further to put out the Congress devious mind in the open. Draupadi Murmuji, our president of our country, why she was not supported, and why they knew first time a person of that stature, that eminence, coming from a tribal community, which is going to send a message to the whole of India. For the very first time, we are seeing a president from that community, but all kinds of allegations they raised, the kind of language they used, and nobody voted. They ran a campaign against the candidate. Now PM is interpreting, okay, what do you actually mean? Probably you felt Draupadi Murmuji is not your idea of India. Probably that is why you don't support. Now all kinds of questions people are asking. And that is why we said, look, we are Southern Bharatiya. In Bharatiya, Bharat, we are We are living in South because it's just
Absolutely.
God has given us an opportunity to live in South, but we live everywhere. That we want to send that strong message to say we are Southern Bharatiya. Anybody who's trying to divide us, anybody who's trying to have this kind of devious, mischievous design to say artificial line divides, your language is different, my language is different. I think it's time we have to break that, madam. We are running this election for 70 odd years on the same narrative, North, South. We are different, you are different, language different, Hindi, non-Hindi.
No.
I think I was expecting that 2024 election would be the unifying election. This election would finally put an end to all this thing that was being spoken for a long time.
True.
And probably so Congress felt it has to run this narrative for some more years to come. And probably it felt 2024 election they are not going to end this narrative. And we have to see Congress in desperate mode for some more time, madam. So we are proud Bharatiyas, proud Tamilians, and extremely proud that we don't differentiate anybody. Probably somebody speaks some language in our country, I may not even understand even a bit of what they speak.
Well said.
But being a Bharatiya means I will sit with them, I will listen to them. Probably I'll understand the ethos behind what they speak. I think that is what it connects. Now I feel very unfortunate that even at this age and time they want to bring the same old cat and show us a circus to say we are different.